What's going on, world? It's a beautiful Monday here in the DMV. It's your boy, Derek Dunn, back once again with another interview for Reviews&Dunn. Today's guest is Jermaine Mickey from the group To The Extreme. You may remember To The Extreme from the early 90s with hits such as Cry No More, Up on the Roof, and an amazing cover of the Gap Band's Outstanding. How you doing today, Mr. Mickey?
Man, I'm doing awesome, man. How you doing?
Blessed, sir. I can't complain. You know, it's another day I'm waking up. The sun is shining outside, and I haven't caught the COVID yet, so I'm extremely blessed.
Well, that's a blessing,
so
man. I mean,
oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I said that's a blessing.
Every day. So my first question is, growing up, who were some of your early influences, and when did you realize that you wanted to pursue a career as a singer?
Well, I got a lot of influence from gospel to R&B. Of course, I was raised doing gospel. So, you know, my big influence, you know, came from traditional gospel music, like anybody from the Clouds of Joy to the Williams Brothers. And then when you go to the R&B side, I always look at my cousin Johnny Gill because he started it before us. He's like my musical influence as well. And then, of course, Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway, and, man, the list just go on and on and on as far as musical influence is concerned.
You grew up in the D.C. area, which is known for go-go music. What was your first go-go concert?
I actually wasn't allowed to go to those type of shows, so I had to actually listen to it because of, you know, my family was real strict when it comes to us going out and everything, so I didn't really spread my wings until I actually got with the group and was able to leave my mother's nest, you know what I'm saying? So I really didn't go to go-go shows, but I mean, I do like it a lot. You know, matter of fact, one of my favorite go-go bands is Red Ashes. So, yeah, I didn't go to any go-go shows, but yeah, I do like the music.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many side eyes I get when I tell people, like, you know, growing up, I wasn't a huge fan of go-go when I was living in the DMV. But, you know, I mean, similar to yourself, you know, I'm like 12, 13, so I really can't, you know, go to the icebox or anything because you had to, you know, I'm not legal.
Right.
But
right.
the older that I've gotten, you know, when I came back to the DMV after my time in the Air Force around 2007, you know, I started to appreciate go-go a little bit more, and then now I go back and I hear it more. But I do think that go-go was one of those musical genres that, to really appreciate it, you got to see it live because it's meant to be heard live, as opposed to just being in the car, like, listening to it. I can't really just run around for hours listening to go-go. The same with John Legend. You know, John Legend is a very, very talented brother, but I can't sit in my car and listen to John Legend for like hours on end because he's an artist that's meant to be seen live due to his style of music.
Right, I agree.
So,
I agree.
When did you first link up with Randy Gill, who's your cousin, and DeExtra Wiley to form the group?
Man, I'm gonna try to shorten that story up. To make a long story short, of course, I didn't have any brothers, so my boy cousins, Randy, Johnny, you know, they were always the people that I hung around with. So, to make a long story short, I started out playing drums. So I really didn't sing as much until I got with my mother's gospel group. So, you know, everybody messed around with singing and every now and then, but hanging around Randy a lot, I decided to, you know, they had to go to a station or whatever, or they had to do a show, and I decided to harmonize with them one day, and and then it dropped from us having 4 guys, because they had a guy before me. They dropped from having 4 guys to having 3. So they decided to keep me. Like I said, I wasn't a singer like that. I just always wanted to play drums. So, I just sung one day, and the rest was history.
How did the group end up signing with Gasoline, Alley, and MCA for the first album?
Actually, it was a bidding war, man. Randy had an interview. One of our relatives had a show on a segment on WPGC 95 that's here in D.C. And she asked Randy to come down because they wanted to know about Johnny. And Randy and them had already did Cry No More, but we had went back and redid it or whatever the situation was. So we went back and updated this song. So to make a long story short, we went with Randy. Me and the extra went with Randy to support him on going up here to do this interview with my cousin Denise. She was doing a little segment on PGC, so they asked us to sing. And prior to that, we did a home jam. PGC had a home jam, so we did the home jam thing. And the guy that did the home jams wasn't the guy Paco. He's actually the radio personality that was there at PGC. So when we did the home jam show, Paco wasn't in the studio. So we played a little music, but then when we came back to do the interview, Denise asked us to sing. So we went to sing, and people thought we were Jodeci. And so, Paco was coming in for a shift, and he was like, "Yeah, man, hey, how y'all doing?" He said, "We doing fine." He said, "Man, we had y'all on my home jam show." He said, "What y'all got going on?" He said, "Well, y'all got a demo?" And, everybody carried their demo. He was like, "Bam, yeah, we got it right here." So went in the pre-production room. We were been listening to Cry No More all day, and Cry No More came on. And he stopped it and was like, "Man, y'all going to be stars." And we was like, "Huh?" He was like, "Man, can y'all get this in another format?" And we went, got another format, came back. We riding down, I think it was 495, me and DX was riding down 495. They said a WPGC exclusive. We just jumped out and just jumped around. So the song was 4 weeks. The song, we were jumping around on the highway. So the song was like number 1 for 4 weeks straight. And then that's when the record company started coming in. And Gasoline Alley was one of the record companies that was bidding for us to come over there. So Shy, our boy Shy, was already over there. They just got signed. So we ended up just going with Gasoline Alley. And the rest was history.
Speaking on Cry No More, the group's first single, it still holds up 27 years later. I mean, I actually revisited the video last night prior to the interview. Yeah. So while the song is a ballad, the older I've gotten, I think the song could also serve as a gospel song because it's not overly risque or overly suggestive. It's almost like you guys had the barge thing going on. Was that the original intent to always have it as maybe a gospel song also, or was it always going to be just a timeless R&B ballad?
I think because of all of us had a gospel background, even the extra. Everybody grew up in the church, and of course Randy and our family, we grew up singing gospel, traditional gospel music. So the way the song was based around Randy gospel vocals just brought out that gospel sound, and we were actually known as the gospel ballads of love. We'll give you that gospel sound, but then we were balladeers as well. So it just came that way because we have a gospel background. It just, that song just get into that direction because of Randy's vocals and our vocals and the way the extra arranged the song. It just went that way, man. You know, it's just from our background doing gospel.
The debut also featured 2 cover songs, the Gap Band's Outstanding and the Drifters' Up on the Roof. Did you all feel any pressure recording these iconic songs?
Outstanding was not a leg puller. We wanted to do because we love the Gap Band, but Up on the Roof was. We didn't want to do Up on the Roof at all. We didn't want to do that song. Basically, we had a song called Tell Me on the album that we wanted to release. So we didn't want to do Up on the Roof. So when the record company, we was at an executive party long time, a while back, we was on the label, and one of the executives at MCA Records was like, man, y'all remind me of the Drifters. Y'all should do Up on the Roof. We like, yeah, right, whatever, all right. So they kept pressing it because they were trying to take us to a crossover group. And we was like, no, man, we got a song called Tell Me. Release Tell Me. And Tell Me was on the I Make Love to You vibe, like a Boyz II Men. And we was like, no, release Tell Me. And they kept pushing Up on the Roof. So we said, all right, we're going to go in the studio, and we're going to mess it up. We ain't even going to do, we was clapping and laughing and stuff. And, man, we went in the studio and gave it to them. So how y'all like it? Man, great. We're going to release it. We was like, what? So Up on the Roof was a mess up. For everybody that want to know, we didn't want to do Up on the Roof at all. We did not want to do that song, but the record company forced it on us. It didn't do well until the record ended. And then everybody loves it, and they said it's one of their favorite songs, but we really didn't want to do it. But Outstanding was something that you didn't have to pull our leg on. We love the Gap Band. We love Charlie Wilson. And that's one of my musical influences as well. So, Up on the Roof was cool. What wasn't cool, Outstanding was.
Yeah, speaking of Up on the Roof, I didn't know it was a cover when I was, a kid. And then later on in life, when I was in the UK, when I was in the Air Force as a DJ, I ended up playing it one night during one of my DJ sessions, and somebody that was British came to me and was like, that's the Drifters? They got an album out?
Yeah.
Like, no, it's that To the Extreme. Like, no, it's not Young Blood. That's the Drifters. Like, yeah,
well, we didn't, like I said.
It's a cover song.
Yeah. We didn't want to do it. We didn't want, and when we heard the song, we was like, man, we're going to mess this song up. Purposely for them to say, all right, man, we're going to move on to Tell Me. And to even touch on that, right after we did that, I'll Make Love to You came out and blew up. So, of course, we were hurt because if Tell Me would have came out after Cry No More, we had a good success and, as far as, Go album and all that, but we really would have been where we wanted to be if that song came out instead of Up on the Roof. But that's just a little note. We didn't like Up on the Roof.
Yeah, we can get into all that. So you all were signed to the same label as Shy. Were there ever any joint tours for you all back in the 90s?
No. We always crossed paths with Shy, even when we came into the, go to the gasoline office because, we stayed in L.A. So we always crossed paths, but we never did shows with them. Now that I know of, we never did tours with them, though. We might did a couple of shows with them, but we didn't do tours with them.
Who were some artists you guys toured with back in the day?
Wow, man, H-Town, of course, Silk, SWV, man, the 69 Boys, man, just go on and on, man. We toured a lot of people. Just doing hit, spots dates here and there. The Rude Boys, Levert. We did shows with a lot of people. a lot. And it was fun, man. I mean, because those guys, everybody that we were on the road with, man, we had a good time touring with these guys.
Yeah, that was a great time to be alive. I mean,
yeah,
I was about
I think we had the
12 to 13 during the time frame. And hearing, like, music at that time, it was so refreshing. And, you know, just going, you know, now that I'm 39, going back and researching everything and seeing how, like, you know, you would have these Superfest, these tours, and, you know, there'd be so many groups on these tours, and, like, everybody that I've interviewed that I'm talking to from that time, they would always say, man, you had to bring your A game. And he was like, you know, it was always going to be a friendly competition because, like, you know, you might go outside one night and see, you know, Shy doing something, and then you see what they're doing, then you got to go back and reorganize your entire stage show because you saw what Shy was doing. But he said, you know, everybody says it was such a good time and so much love and so much unity because you go city to city with these guys and making friends. And it's like, you know, I miss the 90s R&B just so much. And at that time,
the 90s R&B is, to me, besides the 70s, is the greatest music era that I can ever be in. I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even back then, you know, you didn't have singles. Like, you know, you guys had quality albums. Like, you know, the entire album from start to finish would rock. And very rarely would you have someone on the album, if you're an R&B singer, doing a rap. It was about the singing. Now, the remix would have, you know, a rapper on there, but, you know, you focus solely on the singing and the choreography and live instrumentation. Yeah, it was a great time. Like, almost every group that came out that time, even if you didn't have a huge hit, in my opinion, delivered a quality album. Even if you just had one album, like, you know, it was still a quality album. It was more about quality as opposed to quantity.
Right.
So the first album was pretty successful, and 3 years later, you all released the vastly underrated From One Extreme to Another, the second album. The first single from that album, the first single from that album was If I Knew Then, and the video featured an appearance from a young Sherry Smith Fletcher. What do you remember about making that video?
Well, it was a lot of controversy behind that video because they thought that we were actually promoting violence. I don't know how they got that. I know when it premiered on BET, they thought that we were promoting violence, or it was real sketchy. I don't know how the way the video was rolled up or whatever. But as far as the song, it was one of my favorite songs. I had a lot of favorite songs on that album, but doing it with, doing the video with Sherry, man, she was an awesome person. Of course, Yesha was the lead role in that, and man, it was fun working with her. It was cool. Actually, I had a toothache doing that video, so I didn't remember much, but it was a cool video, man. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It was a great song.
I was working with Layla Hathaway on the album's second single, You Got Me Going.
Oh, my God, man. Donny Hathaway was one of my favorite artists. So when Layla comes through, she sounds to me just like her father. So it was just a dream come true for me to see a part of Donny Hathaway be in the studio with us. I thought that was that was a late session too, but man, Layla is just amazing to me. And I still follow her to this day, man. She's an amazing artist. We had fun doing the song, and matter of fact, that was one of my breakout songs because I didn't sing too much on the first album. So You Got Me Going was on one extreme to another album. That gave me a chance to actually come out. So they was like, look, you didn't really sing on the last album. You maybe did a couple of stuff. You know, I maybe did a little hook on Up on the Roof and, so forth. But that was my breakout album as far as them bringing me out and singing. And just being on that cut with Layla, and, man, the way DX and Randy, we came together with that song, man, that was a great experience for me just working with her. She's an awesome, awesome, awesome artist. And Donny Hathaway is one of my favorites, so I enjoy that to the fullest.
Do you feel the label underpromoted the second album? Because in my opinion, it was grown man R&B at its finest. And talking to Randy about the album, when I interviewed Randy, you guys showed so much growth vocally, and the extras writing and production was top notch. You guys were singing like grown men, and compared to the first album, where you had the jeans and the hip hop appeal, the second album was like, look, we're grown, we're coming like grown men, and I don't know why the label didn't fully get behind that project, because it was a great album.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. That album to me was one of my favorites. We had so many songs on that album. I wish they would have focused on that album a little bit better than they did. The extra, had a lot of good writing on that album. Of course, we had Tim Carman, the extra Wiley brother, did a song called Shoulders, and Tim Carman producing on that album was awesome. Of course, that's the extra's cousin, and Tim did an awesome job on that album. So I really feel that it should have been bigger than what it was. We had a lot of songs on there, man. Become is one, and slowly but surely. It was a mini late night because me and the extra stayed in L.A. during the album process, and it was nice that the extra would get me up. Man, I got this song, man. I want you to help me out, and I'm like, man, I'm asleep. Man, come on, man. We gotta go to the studio tomorrow. So I'm like, all right. So we would get some of the melodies of the background before we even recorded the album, man. So I had fun doing that album. I just wish that it was pushed better. Of course, we love MCA. We thank them for the opportunity, but we really feel that we was actually robbed from both albums, because you had, the first album and then this album, as far as promotion-wise, it wasn't great. They didn't do a great job in pushing it to where it needed to be. But, man, we had fun recording it, though.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, kind of listening to the album as an adult now, as opposed to, like, being a 15-year-old kid, they easily could have pushed you guys in the urban AC category with that album, and not trying to have you compete with, say, the Drew Hills and the 112s and the people that were coming out at that time from, like, the Jodeci's, because that wasn't the type of R&B that you all were singing. You guys were singing like grown man R&B, throw a suit on,
right, exactly.
Like doing tours like at the time a Gerald Levert, or say a more older and established R&B, as opposed to trying to make you guys compete with a younger demographic. It was the same thing with Shy's second album. If you remember, Shy's second album didn't get pushed properly, and Blackface is a hell of an album, excuse my language. But it's a very good second album. So I don't know what was going on with R&B artists in the 90s to where, like, those second albums weren't getting pushed by MCA. But that's another conversation for another day.
Man. Oh man, but my wife, I didn't meet my wife until way after we went through this stream. But to this day, one of her favorite songs on the album is Become As One. That's her favorite song, so shout out to her.
So did the group ever fully disband, or did you always decide you wanted to try other things?
Well, my mom was sick, and I wanted to be close to her, and I wanted to do gospel. So I pretty much made my way back to D.C. because I was homesick. I mean, L.A. is great, but, D.C. is my home, and I wanted to be close to my mom. So we just kind of went our separate ways. The X and them, they were going to continue on with the group. but then, you know, that kind of died down a little bit after I made my departure. But, man, we just went our separate ways in that situation. But, you know, to this day, you know, if you tell us to, you know, we ready to do a show, we'll strike up in a heartbeat. I mean, I'm one of the original members of, you know, and if it's time to go, I'm ready to go. I mean, you know, so, you know, it just, after doing 2 good albums and then having MCA do what they did, you know, gospel was always my love, so I just wanted to go do gospel, and which I did. I did 2 gospel albums, and, you know, I just went and did something different, but I'm always to the extreme for life, man.
For a while, I understand that you also dabbled in background vocal work. Who were some of the artists that you did background vocals with?
I mainly did backgrounds on Randy's album, his solo album. You know, I didn't really start writing until after To the Extreme. So basically, all the work that I've done, I didn't do a lot with other artists. I just worked with Randy and myself. So basically, I didn't do a lot of vocal work for anybody else but me and him.
In 2008, you released your first gospel EP, Testimonies.
Mm-hmm.
When you entered the industry, did you always have plans to go gospel as well?
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I left. You know, I won't say I left the group because I'm always To the Extreme, and, you know, but one of the reasons why I took a break, that sounds better, because I wanted to do gospel, and that was just in my heart. And then I kind of, being around Randy and DeExter and them writing most of the albums, and, you know, back in the days, I wanted to be just like them. I wanted them to be proud of me. So the first album that I did, my wife wrote God Alone with me. And a matter of fact, she wrote God Alone, and then I wrote the rest of it. Man, it was a great experience, just being able to do what I love to do. And like I said, I'm a big traditional gospel fan when it comes to gospel, man. And that was just one of my things. I just wanted to do something different, but do something that I grew up doing. That was gospel music. My mom always raised me under traditional gospel. And, you know, to this day, I have a traditional gospel radio show, you know, would consist of myself, Randy, and our sister, Dawn Kelly. So, you know, I just love gospel, man, and that's just something that I wanted to do. But it was great. Testimony was a great album.
2 plays you've acted in locally were Who Can I Run To and Through the Rain with Tanya Blunt, another very underrated songstress. When did you get the acting book?
Well, actually, I did a total of 5 plays. The first play, yeah, yeah, I was in about 5 plays, man. But I did Through the Rain. I think Who Can I Turn To was a play that was the first play that I did at my church with my god sister Nicole. She wrote that play, and that was my first time acting. Nicole, shout out to Nicole, man. She's a great unheard playwright. And I played an abused father that was on drugs, and man, I had a lot of people hating me after that play, you know, but that's what started my acting career. Who Can I Turn To actually started my acting career, but working with Tanya, that was a dream come true as well, because I always follow her career. You know, we were all came out of the Kevin Jackson, Stacey Latta song group. You know, everybody recorded at Night Flight, so Tanya was always at Night Flight, which is in D.C., you know, where we recorded Cry No More. So working with Tanya and her husband was awesome, man. Randy was in that play as well. So man, but I did a total of 5 plays, man, that I can name of, man, and it was just a great experience. That is something that to this day that I'm working on, continue to do. That's one of my niches. I want to do more acting, and that's what I'm focusing on in this upcoming year of getting back on stage. But working with Tanya and Through the Rain, man, that was a fun experience for me. But my acting career first started with Nicole, my god sister, for Who Can I Run To? So, man, I just enjoy acting as well.
All right, so right now the big thing for musicians is the biopics. I'm sure as a gospel fan you saw the Clark Sisters biopic, Lifetime. Who's one gospel artist? Who's one gospel artist story you like to be told on the big screen, or deserves your story to be told?
Well, not to be biased, man, I would hope our family would get a biopic. We got a lot of talented people in our family. But if you want me to name an artist, you said a gospel artist?
Either gospel or R&B.
I'm waiting on the commission biopic. I heard it's supposed to be coming. So I'm looking forward to seeing the commission biopic. I would love to see Fred and those guys. I was a big fan of those. So commission would definitely be one biopic that I would love to see. The Clark Sisters biopic was awesome, but I would love to see commission biopic as well.
Yeah, that's my standard question when I interview artists, and the top 3 that usually, you're the first person to say commission, but the top 3 that people usually throw out are Donny Hathaway, Prince, and
Oh, you said that's what I was saying. I thought you said gospel. R&B is something totally different.
You can put R&B in there too.
Yeah, Prince. Donny Hathaway. I was just telling my wife about that. I would love to see a biopic on Donny Hathaway. Man, yeah. I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire. The list just go on. Yeah, I would love to see, because I have all of, like, from the Temptations to the What's Love, all those biopics I have in my collection right now. So I would love to see the Prince one, though. I would definitely want them to get that together. And I really think Michael Jackson's story having been told the right way. I would love to see it on the big screen as well.
Oh yeah. Me being a music fan as well as someone that went to film school for a little while, whenever somebody posts a story, you'll see a story post on the internet, and there'll be something that'll come out about, why does he need a story? You already had it. I'm like, nah, people like Michael, people like Janet, people like Prince, their lives are so rich. You can't only focus on, life, birth up until now, because with Prince's story, you could make a movie out of Prince trying to get away from Warner Brothers in '93 and how he first saw where we are now with music. That's a story in itself. I mean, with Janet, you could easily focus on Janet becoming a solo artist and kind of breaking away from her father's management style and becoming her own person. That's a classic underdog story. With Michael, with Michael's stuff, you can focus solely on Michael making Thriller, how he felt that he didn't get his just due from Off the Wall, and the making a Thriller could be a movie by itself. So yeah, I'm big on biopics. I'm still waiting on a Marvin Gaye story to actually get told.
Yeah,
but
I don't. Yeah, I think you need to talk. If you get a chance to interview the extra Wiley, the extra works with Marvin Gaye's son. They're working hand in hand. Matter of fact, the extra just did a musical that he produced and put on Broadway on Marvin Gaye called Pride and Joy. So yeah.
Yeah, the one that was here last year. I went and saw it.
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
Yeah. So and Marvin has so many stories about Marvin. I mean, even if you just focus on the What's Going On album and how he created that, and how that totally changed music. And me being a youngster, but talking to, my elders, and those guys breaking it down for me, saying how What's Going On was kind of like really the first conceptual album. It wasn't just a bunch of songs thrown together. It was actually an R&B artist telling a story about what's going on in the world, pardon the pun. And Barry kind of didn't want Marvin to do that album because he felt like it's not going to make any money. But, I mean, What's Going On is easily, arguably, one of the greatest albums ever made, no questions asked.
Yeah, big album, man. That was awesome. Yeah, Marvin is a legend. From D.C., so we got it going on down here.
So, in addition to gospel, you still dabble in R&B music from time to time. A few years ago, you released the ballad, You Can Count on Me. What was the inspiration behind that song?
Man, was going to be on my album that's coming out, man, very soon. Count on Me was a song that I had wrote when I met my wife, and it was just based around how we met and how you know how it is when a female has been through a lot, and they don't know if they can trust you or not. And my wife, she came in as one of those independent type of women. She came in with a wall up. And I told her, I said, look, just give me a chance. I mean, when I left the group, I didn't have a lot going on, and I was just rebuilding my situation, and times was hard. You know how it is. Anybody has to rebuild their life after being on the road for so many years. So she thought I was going to be that type of person to, dog the situation or whatever. I said, just give me a chance to prove it to you. So I wrote that based upon us meeting. I just said, hey, you can count on me. I'm here. And, man, we done been married for going on 15 years. So now she understands that I can count on her, being that man that can go out and, get $1 to make sure, make sure that she, she's well taken care of. And she was actually on that song. She's got a little talking part on that song. So it was based around my wife, just letting her know that, you can count on me. So that's going to be on my new album called, that's coming out very soon.
So you've had a successful music career, dabbled in acting, and now you have your own radio show, the Jermaine Mickey Show. What do you tell listeners about this format?
Man, the Jermaine Mickey Show, man, wow. The Jermaine Mickey Show is like your ordinary Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey type of show. It consists of myself. And actually, it wasn't even called the Jermaine Mickey Show. It was called the Midday Evening Show. And my co-host, Jay Stevens, a great comedian out of Cleveland, which you can hear him on our show a lot. Jay was like, man, Midday Evening, that name just don't fit. So, we was like, what? He was like, man, you need to call it the Jermaine Mickey Show. I was like, no, man, I'm the type of person, I don't want it to be focusing around me all the time. He was like, man, you should call it that. So we changed the name, and it's been going, we've been on the air for a minute now. We on, every other Friday from 12 noon right on WAJM, which is my R&B station. And it's just, we got great topics. Of course, my other co-host, Heaven Neal, great artist, a makeup artist. She's a nurse, and she sings as well. We just teams up to have that trio of giving you the great topics and laughter and playing great music. Of course, we have Jay's son, Sean Stevenson Jr. Does the sports, and we have a girl, young lady out of Cleveland, Ohio. Her name is Miss Candy. She does the thought She does entertainment news, and we just have a great time, man. We have a great time, and the show is still brand new, but we're having fun doing the show. I have a blast with them all the time. So we just doing, making people laugh and giving them great music and great topics. Just a great show all around.
Dope. So before we close out, I want to get your thoughts as a sports fan that you are, just, being friends with you on Facebook and everything. What are your thoughts on the Jordan documentary? Are you learning anything you didn't know?
Wow, man. Look, let me tell you something. I don't want to be long, man. I just got caught up on it because I started taping it. You can ask my wife today. Just today, I've been watching all the episodes. I had to go back to where I left off at, man. Let me tell you, I was a big Chicago fan. When they won their title in '91, I was a fan of them then. I can remember, I told my wife this today. When they won the series against Phoenix, I can remember where I was. We were doing a show, and I don't remember the city, but we were doing a show, and I was watching the game. I can remember being excited, jumping in the hotel room that they won the championship. So I was a big fan of Chicago Bulls, man. Of course, I'm a Golden State Warriors fan now, but this whole thing, man, is awesome to me, man. I had to go back and watch because you know how you is. You go, you watch shows, and you fall asleep. So today I just got caught up on watching all the episodes, man, and now I'm caught up, man. I love it, man. I was, like I said, Chicago is one of my teams, man, and Jordan is like one of the best players ever. But the supporting cast that they had in that team, it was just awesome, man. So yeah, that's one of my favorite shows right now. One of my favorite shows.
I'm not really into sports like deep like that, but just once again, listening to my elders speak and people that lived in that during Jordan's prime. That was a great time to be alive. The NBA before it got, how folks say, before the NBA got kind of soft. How it is now. The way the NBA was in the 80s and the early 90s. I mean, I've had tons of my female coworkers and female bosses that have been older than me. They said, they would tell me they would sit in front of television sets, with their husbands or with their kids, and actually just be deep enthralled in the basketball because it was so aggressive and so entertaining. And the way they played, even maybe even 20 years ago in 2000 compared to how they play now was totally different.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, man.
Jordan is just Jordan. Jordan is the pinnacle of athletes for a lot of people. Even though I'm a LeBron fan, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah, I mean that series is unbelievable, especially the stuff that he was going on with the Bad Boys, Pistons, and my wife don't sit down and watch a lot of stuff, but she was watching it with me, man. We had a good time, but basketball is cool. But I'm a straight-up football player. I'm a straight-up Washington Redskins fan, man. But that Chicago documentary is one of the great, one of the best to me right now that's going on. That's on TV right now. So I'm enjoying that.
Hey, well, I'm gonna give you a quick little plug on Wednesday when the Michelle Obama documentary premieres on Netflix. I had a chance to see it, because I'm also a film critic. As a matter of fact, I got to post my review tonight. But Becoming Michelle Obama, when it hits Netflix on Wednesday, I highly recommend you and your lady check that out because it's very inspiring and very just Michelle Obama just has that natural elegance about her. But watching the documentary and just hearing her speak about stuff and seeing how she is so just humanized, I mean it's a beautiful thing. That's probably one of the best docs I've seen in 2020.
I can't wait, man.
So,
I'm definitely going to check it out.
So before we close out, is there anything you'd like to add? And where can fans find you on social media? And where can they hear your radio show?
You can hear all of our I have 3 stations. All the stations that you can hear on my website. I have WAJM 102.1. That's where you can hear the Jermaine Mickey Show. We also have Cheryl Underwood that broadcasts on our show 5 days a week from 6 a.m. to 10. And you can hear all of my stations on www.wajmradiocom.com. And then once you go on the website, all the stations are broken up where you want to hear the R&B. If you want to hear the R&B stuff, you can just go right above Cheryl Underwood's face, click the players button. If you want to hear some gospel, whether it's traditional or contemporary, we have the contemporary station. You click the button, or the traditional Quartet Nation station. You can click that as well. So you can hear the Jermaine Mickey Show every other Friday from 12 to 3. And then me and Randy have a gospel show called the Quartet Hour. You can hear us every Friday as well from 7 to 10 p.m. on the Quartet Nation station. So all you got to do is go to www.wajmradiocom.com, and all of the stations are posted there. To follow me, you can go to I'm on Instagram. I'm jmick2017. Facebook is Jermaine Mickey, and Twitter is Jermaine Mickey.
All right. Well, once again, folks, this has been Derek Dunn. My guest today was Mr. Jermaine Mickey of the group To the Extreme. If you guys haven't heard To the Extreme's first 2 albums, I highly suggest you check them out. No excuses. You got Spotify. You got Apple Music. Go and check it out.
And it's on iTunes.
It is on iTunes. And also check out some of Jermaine.
Go get it.
Jermaine also has a couple songs on iTunes and other streaming platforms. I Can't Forget, I Got a Feeling, and the song we talked about, You Can Count on Me. So R&B ain't dead, folks. It's out there. You just got to look for it. It's been my pleasure to interview Mr. Jermaine Mickey. I hope you guys learned something. I sure did. As always, stay blessed, be inspired, and to quote Maurice Wright, be ever wonderful. Peace and blessings. Done.
Peace.